Well, for the MPCA show this week, I'm as nervous as a cat in a hot tin roof. I tell you what, because I've got the Nagels here. Jason Nagel and his sons Paddy and Ash. And Jason has organised this today. So if it goes pear-shaped, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you can blame him. Please don't blame me. I'm going to throw them under the bus. Great pleasure to be here for the MPCA Cricket Show for Blackout Electrical, Telstra Business Technology Centre of Melbourne South, GameFace Vision, and we're also here for Greeny Brothers Brewery. Jason Nagel, good to have you on the program.
Thanks for having us, Dan.
Yes, you organised this.
Well, I did mention that it's a possibility if you wanted to, and you said, yes, let's do it.
Absolutely, and I've been told to make sure I push you up, so we'll talk a little bit about you and your great achievements in life. But Paddy, we've had you on the show once before, but thanks for coming back.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, Dan.
And Ash, great to have you as well. And the season for Rosebud at the moment, Ash, you guys are flying. You've had one loss. Your bowling in particular has been sensational. What do you put your good form down to?
I suppose that's what happens when we're a club that stick together. I think we got 7 Rosebud juniors in our first 11 side. So we all understand each other. We understand our ground. Like at the start of the season, our bowling probably wasn't up to scratch. We were conceding 200 comfortably, and our batting was going well. And then we played Mount Eliza, we bowled them out for 80. Yeah. And then we passed them 3 down, and then we were bowled out for 140. But no one sees that. Like we passed 3 down, we've had a 7-wicket win, we keep playing, we get bowled out for 140, doesn't look good. And then we played Mornington and we got rolled for 120, and they were number 50, but we got saved by the rain. And that's when we had a talk. We're like, all right, we need to get better here. Didn't help because we went out to Murdoch, kept them to, well, I bowled them out in the last over for 170, but then we got skittled for 70, and that was just, we're like, all right, now we've got to get cracking. The break came at a perfect time for us. It couldn't have come at a better time for us. And then after Christmas, we just finding ways to win. We understand our game plan that Paddy puts in place for us. Everyone buys in, and we just stick fat to it.
And Paddy, you've bowled magnificently. I mean, there's 3 of you that have got over 20 wickets. You've got 29. Ash got 25, and Sam Jones, I've been told, is the second strangest cat on the peninsula after me.
Behind you.
Yeah, behind me. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, he's taken 21 wickets. I mean, so your bowling's just been fantastic, hasn't it?
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have some really good bowlers, and not in that mix is Jared Hicks, whose economy rate's outstanding, and then we've got Nathan O'Sullivan, who provides something different with the left arm as well. But I suppose for myself, Ash and Sam Jones to reap the rewards of that is, credit where credit's due, and we've bowled really well this season, and hopefully we can bowl well for a few more weeks.
Jason, going to be hard to beat, aren't they? And you played a big part. The club is in a bit of trouble, and you're a life member of that club. You absolutely love them. I know you coach some and have coached them for a while, but you played a big part in ensuring the club stayed alive in the off-season, didn't you?
Yeah, it was got pretty bad there towards the end of last year, and just sort of basically, to me, the core group of what your club's about are your life members. So got in contact with pretty much all of them. And to their credit, Tuffy's taken on the job as president. Nick Conjute lives in Yarrawonga. He's the treasurer, another life member. So he's the heart and soul of the joint. He's, speak of characters, that bloke just makes that joint tick. Whenever he's around or anyone mentions his name around the place, the place is just better for having him involved. So he's doing a fantastic job. And then, Paul Crothers is the junior coordinator. So they just got the right mix of people back into it. But it did take, I basically rang up the life members and said, if you want to be a life member of a club that's not going to exist, then I don't want to be one of those. I want to do something about it. So we just got in contact, and a few people just put their hands up, and now they've got 3 sides, but I think they're pretty soon going to go to 4. They didn't have many juniors at all last year, and now they've got an under-16s, they've got 2 under-10s. So they're just heading in the right direction. They got it back to what, the fabric of the joint. I was there for a long time. It's a great place to be, and I've enjoyed being away from it. But in time, and some of it's been fantastic for me, no doubt, and I'll end up back at Rosebud at some point in time, and Summy's well aware of that. So, yeah, but to see the boys doing really well and the club going well, the seconds last year were deplorable. They were real bad, and to see them with 2 games to go, half a game out of the 4, is just. I mean, everyone sees how the ones are going, but from a club point of view, there's more to it than that, and that's what that club's always been around about. So to see the 2s and the 3s are having some wins, So that's what's important, and they're just the icing on the cake.
And your team, you're not far away, but you're probably a couple of bowlers down, aren't you? Your batting generally has been pretty good this year.
Yeah, well, I think I said to you when we caught up a while ago, we're 30 to, I just seem to be 30 to 40 runs short every time we bat. And that, like we played Long Island at the start of the year, we got 270, but we should have got 300 plus, and we fell short. Rosebud, we got 200 in round 2, should have been 230. They got over the line in the 39th over or whatever it was. So we just seem to, and the only time that we've really had a really good day with the bat was Seaford Tigers. We got 300 with 10 overs to go and declared, or it could even have been more. So whilst we can say it's easily the bowling, I feel like our batting is our strength, but we just haven't managed to capitalise. We get a lot of starts, and I've been big on the boys. You know, you've got to go on with it. So, yeah.
What's it like, Paddy and Ash, to come up against the old man? I mean, he obviously knows you guys well. He knows the club well. Is there an advantage or a disadvantage, or you don't really worry too much when you're out there, just another team?
Probably the on-field stuff's enjoyable for me, having played footy there, and especially like the blokes like Luke Rowe that's there, and Ryan McNamara played 19s and that at Summy as well. So the on-field's actually quite enjoyable for that side of it. However, I feel like the off-field stuff with Dad's probably more fun during the week, where on the Sunday we're asking him who's playing and all this sort of stuff. He never tells us anything, but it's more that sort of fun that we get during the week to have with Dad. And then on the Saturday, seeing Matt Rosebud in a Summy kit's really strange, to be honest. But other than that, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy playing Summy. I played with Kiefer Perez up at Frankston for a period of time. Yeah, they're a great bunch of lads, and it's made even more enjoyable that if we win, we get to stick it up there, man, Dad, to be honest.
And Ash, there's always bragging rights, isn't there? Because the old man's had a lot of success. Hasn't had a lot of success with the bat in finals. I think 26 runs in 6 innings, but he's taken a lot of wickets in finals. You guys would love to be able to go past that, wouldn't you? I mean, you've won a premiership a few years ago. I think we called that game, which was a magnificent performance, and I saw the great man here who's just tough as treacle, actually crying his eyes out in the corner. No, he was on the air with me, and then he was crying his eyes out.
That's when
happy as Larry he was.
Is that the game he wore a hoodie all day to hide his Rosebud polo because he was the coach of Summy on there?
Correct. Exactly right.
So, yeah, well, Dad's won 3, Paddy's won 3, and they've won 1 together, so obviously that's special for Dad, and then I've won 2, so I think Dad's got the worst batting record. I actually don't think he's laid bat on ball in a final.
A winning final.
Is that right, Jace?
I'd argue against it. Yeah.
You made 3 ducks, didn't you?
Oh, who got this?
You guys just told me that beforehand.
So my grand final record at Sky, I played in 3 grand finals and faced 7 balls and haven't troubled the scorer. And been out 3 times.
But you got wickets.
Yeah.
Well, that's most important, isn't it?
Taking
You're more a
wickets
bowler than a batter.
Yes.
Well, that's okay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all right.
I mean, look at some of the batters look at Chris Martin. He was the worst batsman of all time. Yeah. He took some wickets for New Zealand, didn't he?
Yeah, well, Paddy's, I don't know, if you've got hundreds written down there?
I haven't. How many hundreds have you got, James?
2.
Paddy?
0.
Ash?
1.
Well, it's okay. You're almost there, aren't you?
Yeah.
What was it like, Paddy, playing with the old man in a grand final?
Which one? Oh, the winning one? Yeah. We lost 2 before we won 1. Right. Yeah, it was enjoyable. It was winning a grand final. It was a bit surreal. I was only 17 years of age. Sorry. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Watched Dad put on an absolute clinic from one end at Sky all day, to be honest with you, and just bowled his heart out for the side and the club. And I think he really made sure that Rosebud won the premiership, but I could really sense that he just really wanted one to win with me, to be honest with you, and have that opportunity to have premiership reunions in years to come, and then we get to celebrate it together. The special part about that grand final we won was that Ash won one in the thirds the week before, which was awesome. So all 3 of us had a photo with a medal around our neck at the same time of the year. Just really special, to be honest with you, and to be able to share that with Dad. And then I'm probably the lucky one where I've enjoyed it with Dad and then enjoyed it with Ash. So it's really special. It was great fun with Dad, but to win 2 with Ash when we're both of age and that sort of stuff was probably more fun for the after hours stuff.
What was it like winning one with your son?
Oh, I loved it. But I think the best thing I've sort of, not achieved, but the best thing that I've got to experience in cricket was the year that all 3 of us played in the ones together. So, you play your premierships to play, because you're never out of the game. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. if I'm bowling, you're just concentrating on what you're got to do. But then if they're bowling, you're nervous that they're doing the right thing, and then you just don't want them to fail. And then, Ash was only 15, and I mean, it's fair to say he's had a pretty big growth spurt. He was bordering on dwarfism at one stage. It
wasn't
great. With a head not to match. Like so.
I was the same. I was the smallest kid in the form going into year 12, and then I sort of grew.
So he's put
halfway through the year.
Yeah, he's sort of grown into his head.
Yeah, same with me.
Lately, which Lyle House and Keith Burdett will justify, because the year I had at Mount Liza, 20 years ago or 22 years ago, he was only 1 or 2, and they couldn't believe that. They just kept watching him just tip over because his head would take him. So it's nice to see him grow.
Now, if your lovely wife was here, I know she's travelling, she would be absolutely having a crack at you about Ash's poor old head.
No, she's up in Queensland at the moment, so it's all good.
So who's the golden child out of you two?
Ashley.
Ashley, is
Ashley. Any conversation about favourite children, golden children, they stem from Ashley and Sophie.
What about you, Pat?
No, I'm just the oldest. I'm just the oldest. I'm just there.
Under the pump.
Yeah.
Now, you've both been to Darwin, played cricket in Darwin. What was that experience like, and how much has it made you better cricketers?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to experience Darwin twice. I was going to England, but then COVID hit, and then 2 years of COVID lockdown. But then, 2022, Dad said he had a contact in Darwin. I was like, yeah, all right, we'll give it a try. Next thing I know, I was on a plane to Darwin, knew no one, just taking a leap of faith. And I got to stay with the great Brett Whelan. There's 6 months of my life that I don't know if I'll ever get back or the enjoyment.
Well, he's from here, isn't he? And, of course, his sister is Nikki Whelan, who's the actress. Tell me about... Well, I know who Nikki is. Tell me that there was a relationship, among other things, yesterday, but we'll leave that alone.
It was weird watching a movie with Brett that his sister was in.
Why?
He's
getting stuck into her?
No, it's probably not the right movie to watch. But I was lucky enough. My first year in Darwin, the team that I played twos, and the team that A grade had was incredible. You had Xavier Crone, Tom O'Connell, Sam Kerber, Dan Kerber, Corey Kelly, Brodie Simons, Luke Gandy, all in the ones that have got Victoria state experience. So at trainings, I'd never experienced anything like it. The standard was just at another level. So I learnt a lot from there. And then I was lucky enough to win a B grade grand final up there, so a twos final. And then the following year went back up, and I was lucky enough it was a whole different side because of the imports. It's hard for people to go back up, and that. I experienced it in the ones for a full year, and lucky enough to win the flag again up there. But it's just different cricket. It's awesome.
When you say different, Southern Districts we're talking about, aren't we? Yeah.
The standard, you're coming up against just top quality players. I've never played Premier Cricket down here. Paddy has, and I don't know if it was similar, but just the difference from bowling a good ball and you still watch it go over your head, just things like that, and just how the professionals go about it. Here we are, just play concrete village cricket. Saturday night, you go out, whatever. Up there, you still go out, but the professionalism during the week was just incredible.
Did you enjoy it, Paddy?
Yeah, I loved it. It was a really good experience. I said last time I was on with you, Dan, it was just a new role for me when I went up to Darwin, batting low and only bowling first change and only a few overs because I was struggling with my bowling at that point. But in terms of what I learned about cricket up there was just that I've realised that because you're playing against such good players and that you sort of have to bore the good players into making a false shot, and it's okay to go through the motions like that in cricket, especially in the 2 days. And then probably the 1 days was just how important those match winners are to have in your side, and that they can change a game in the space of 5 overs through throwing their hands at the ball or taking wickets with the new ball early. That's probably what I took away most from Darwin, to be honest with you.
And Jace, you obviously love coaching. You've coached a lot of women's teams as well. What's the difference? What's the fundamental difference?
Between women and men?
Yes.
From a women's perspective, they're just pure. They're just so raw. Their knowledge isn't as great because they haven't played the game. We've got mums and daughters that are playing at at Somerville. Like we played one game against Delacombe Park not that long ago where we had 4 mother-daughters and 2 sisters play each other. And there was one, Caitlin Van Lewis, she was the odd one out, so she was my adopted daughter for the day. So we got photos with everyone. Yeah. But primarily the difference is that they don't play on ego. They just play the game as it should be played. If the opposition bat well, they congratulate them. The spirit amongst the teams is really good. I think, Somerville, I'm not being biased here, but, they're a very good club socially in terms of the way the women go about it and the way they're respected by the opposition. We've had 2 other clubs wanting to go on their trip away with them. Really? Just the way they go about their fun and the way they engage with each other, they're going to Somerville. I went there 6 years ago to coach the men's, and here I am 6 years later. I've just spent a year coaching the women's. They finished second on the ladder. They got their semi-final this Sunday. And you go to meet new people at cricket clubs, and which I've done. I've got some really good friends that I'll take with me for no matter where I end up. Yeah. But now I can add the women's part of that as well. And, some great from young girls, Tilly Black, Lara Patone, they're only 14 years old. Marley Black, who's, young girl. Talia Love yesterday, just a smile on her face. It's just, and then she's playing with her mum. It's brilliant. And they love playing.
It helps, guys, that we've got great role models in the best, and I honestly believe this at the moment, in my humble opinion, the best sporting team in Australia is the Australian women's cricket team. They are winning matches, even in the Ashes. There were some games where they weren't great. One of those one days they should never have won, and they won. They just know how to win from any position, and I think that inspires these young girls and women to want to play cricket. Yeah,
well, definitely. It's as I said, it's so good. There's so much talent coming through. Across all the grades, there's a lady that plays at Tooradin, Amy Melford, absolute star. You should see her bat, incredible. I think she's made over 600 runs for the year. Just a gun, just top quality. I think she's played indoor cricket for the state and all that sort of stuff. But there's that much quality of cricket people out there playing the game in terms of in the female space. And now they've got a pathway. So now this Tuesday, the Summer girls are going for I think they're in their 7th grand final in a row, and they've lost them all. So,
wouldn't it be nice though?
Well, it would be. So going to air. So they surely got to win this one, Dan. So, but 4 of the girls that play in the women's team are in this girls' competition. So just to see the parents are going to be down there tomorrow night. It's just it's added another dimension to Somerville. And speaking to the boys about it down at Rosebud, they're trying to do the same thing down there, because I think if you don't have a women's team and a girls' team at the moment, and it's so hard to do, but if you can get it, the growth in your club and the growth and how you can expand and all that is just, it's great.
I've got one of the great families in cricket on the MPCA, Jason Nagle and his sons in Ash and Paddy with us. Jason coaches Somerville in the Peninsula Comp. Ash and Paddy, of course, play for Rosebud, and they play each other this week in round 13, a 2-day fixture. 2 more rounds to go before the finals. We're here for Brinny Brothers Brewery, Telstra Business Technology Centre of Melbourne South, also Swift's Locker, and we'll name very shortly our player of the round. It was an outstanding double by one of the players in the provincial competition, and we're also here for GameFace Vision. Ash and Paddy, wanted to ask you about your experience playing Country Week, of course, which was on recently. It was a bit controversial because I know a lot of the Dramana boys played, and then they had to play the T20 comp, and they had cricket for some of them on Saturday, although it did get rained out. It was a huge week. But then again, it's up to them to go to bed at 11 o'clock, not 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, which they did. But you guys played on the MCG. What was that experience like? It must have been one of the greatest experiences of your life.
Tell him why you played on the MCG.
Yes.
Explain your MCG.
Explain your MCG. It's not country.
So my MCG experience was, I think, going back to Kangarotes of Year 11 school cricket.
I thought it was Country Week. You set me up. You're a shocker. In the words of Paul Keating on Alexander Dana all those years ago, Jace, I'll do you, but I'll do you slowly.
But all I would say is I remember fielding and literally watched the ball go past me because I was too busy we played right in front of the MCC members. I was just looking at the stands. But Country Week this year was it was awesome. So I was lucky enough to get selected last season to play with Paddy. Yeah. But then this year got selected as well, and we went down in division. So the message from the Monday morning as soon as I got to the ground was, let's just get back up to provincial, back up to the top grade. On the Monday, we versed Kingston Hawthorn and kept them to about bowled him out for 180, I think. And then Aidan McKenna and Sam Fowler, they just batted superbly. I think Aidan McKenna went out when we needed 10 runs to win, something like that. The Tuesday we started at 10 and we were done by 12:30. So
Really?
yeah, that's when we got told we had to look after ourselves for the day. Curfew at 10 o'clock.
Who put that in?
Is that Dwayne Field?
Who put the curfew in?
Yeah, Dwayne Field put the curfew in, and Dwayne Field was the last one home.
So what, you started drinking at 1 and got home, what, about 13 hours later, was it?
Nah, it's,
14 hours.
yeah.
Oh,
Nah,
gee.
we had a couple, because Bobby's message to us was after each game,
Bobby Wilson was
yeah,
talking about
Bobby
it.
Wilson to
Yeah.
the coach, he said, after each game we will have a drink with the opposition and we will buy from the club that have put it on for the day. So
Right.
they've taken time out of their day to put a game of cricket on. So at least we
Where
can
were
do
you
it.
playing?
Oh, we played Frankston Peninsula, Spotswood, Donvale, Ormond and Noble Park. So we played all across Melbourne. So yeah, that was Bobby's message. After the game, we have a beer with opposition in the club rooms, support the club that put it on for the day. Yeah, so we had a big afternoon. We went to the beach and then just looked after ourselves during the day. And then the Wednesday, that's when we played at Donvale. We had a good win there. The Thursday we played Ballarat, and it was kind of a dead rubber because we knew we were going to be versing each other on the Friday if the game was close. Yeah. So as long as it wasn't a blowout, it was going to be Mornington versus Ballarat. And then on the Friday, the final, it was probably one of the better games I've played in. It was.
You got close, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, we got 268. Aidan McKenna got 80. Matt Prosser was just incredible. I think he got 70, but it's the 70 he makes at the time. And then we went out there and we couldn't catch a cold.
I had the Ian Baker Finches, I had the yips.
The yips?
Yeah, we just...
Should have won the game.
Yeah, well, when you drop 6 catches and 99 out of 100, you're catching 5 of the 6 we dropped. But that's cricket. Like, no one means to drop them. And then we threw the ball to a 15-year-old in his second spell, and him and Billy Humphrey had a beautiful bowling partnership, and they got us to it. Got to the last over, we needed 2 wickets. They needed 10 runs, and they hit a 4, and then we got a run out. And I remember I was fielding at deep backward square, and the coach of Ballarat, he said to me, "The game is over this over. The game is over this ball. The number 8's going to try and hit this for 6. There was 3 balls left, 5 runs, 1 wicket, and he goes, "It's over this ball. Like, he's going to try and hit this for 6. He'll go out or he'll hit it for 6." And
He did.
sure enough, he hit it for 6. But yeah, it was an incredible week. To go to the second last ball on the Friday evening was pretty special.
And you've got yourselves back up. It's a good comp, the old Country Week, Paddy. I don't know whether it gets as much attention as it should. I know Bobby Wilson for the MPCA he's a great campaigner of it, isn't he? Absolutely loves it.
Yeah, he's a big advocate for it. He absolutely loves it, does Bob, and a lot of his time goes into the Country Week, and he's put a lot of time in over the last, 12 months to make sure they got up to provincial. It was really hard last year to be a part of that relegation game and Bobby's last game of Country Week, and we were talking about tears before about losing grand finals, and Bobby was crying after the loss of a relegation game. I'm sure he won't mind me saying that either, actually. They did really well this year. It's a fantastic competition. I think the people that have been involved understand and appreciate what it's worth, and then from that, it's I had added interest this year with Ash. I ducked out of work for a couple of hours and went down to watch this year, and Reece Elmy was there, who played last year as well, and Dale Irving was involved this year. So I'm sure many people across the peninsula have interest in it, but I know from being there and have played in it, there's always interest in when Country Week's on and if I can go and watch a game.
And Jace, you're obviously an advocate for it as well.
Do you ever play, Dad, at Country Week? Do you ever play?
So
how was your Country Week experience?
No, my Country Week experience was I was in the Paul Waterhouse era, so no one was ever going to get the ball. And Paul Bradley.
Paul Waterhouse was an outstanding bowler.
So they bowled 80 overs between them, or 50 overs between them, so no one was going to get a sniff, and they just picked 9 bats. So
did you play Country Week?
No, but I have got I've got a pair of purple shorts, a purple polo and a purple tracksuit top and a purple cap from when I was doing the league stuff. So I was Bart Hudson's bitch, actually. So I looked
Was that
after.
when you were babysitting Sam Gove that week?
Sam Gove was on my. I got my gig at Country Week, I was Sam Gove's guardian.
Yeah.
Sam Gove, of course, is a good up-and-coming cricketer.
Fantastic player, fantastic player. So you're the original Dwayne Field then?
I'm the original Dwayne Field, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, just clarifying.
Excellent. Just quickly, guys, before we, as usual, I knew we'd go over here, but it's lovely to have the Nagels with us for our coverage today of the MPCA Cricket Show. We'll look at round 12 in a second and preview round 13. Sam Field, we had him on the show a few weeks ago. How far can he go, Ash?
Oh, he'll go far. Like, his skills are good. Like, well, they're amazing. But I remember we played at Donvale and Matt Pross and Sam Field were at the crease, and I think we just lost 3 for 30 or something like that. And Pross, being that senior head, just said to him, I think we just got to accumulate. There's 15 overs to go. Let's, for the next 5, 10, let's just go at 5, 6 and over, no risk. Sam Field turned to him, I like this off spin, I'm going to hit him over cover. And that's a 15-year-old. Like, he just knows his game so well. The big moments throughout the whole week, pretty much. On the grand final on the Friday, he changed the game there. We dropped 2 or 3 catches. They were none for 40. Here he is at short mid-wicket, running, sliding across the turf, and direct hit run out, changes the game. Like, the big game moments, he just seemed to be the one that was involved. He will go a long way.
Yeah, and such a ripping kid.
Yes, he is.
Just a ripping kid. So it's actually hard to believe. They need to be. He needs to be DNA checked because I don't think he's Dwayne's. Dwayne, there's no way Dwayne could produce anyone with that much ability here.
Oh, I'm sure Dwayne will be happy to hear that. I met Dwayne as well.
I've actually told Dwayne.
Have you really?
Yeah.
What did he say about that?
Yeah, he reckons it's true as well.
Yeah, the milkman was waiting at the door. All right, boys, let's have a look at what happened in Peninsula on the weekend. Mount Eliza 1 for 87, starting to find some form. Beat the Seaford Tigers, who just cannot make runs, unfortunately, for the Tigers, and it looks like they'll be relegated. 60 and 3 for 145 in their second innings. Tigers batting in the first innings. Chevalier 32 not out. Mount Eliza bowling have taken over 30 wickets each. Tom Barron 5 for 19 and Reuben Higgins 4 for 23. And the Tigers' second innings, Brooking was 56 not out. Mount Eliza batting Walker, and that's been a bit of a good move for them.
Yeah,
opening the batting, 52 not out, James.
Yeah, they're the top 4 at the moment. It looks pretty set. We'll go through that in a minute. But Mount Eliza, they've got some really quality bats. JL, Josh Googe is a star. But then I think their weapon that they've got is Tommy Barron being able to bowl. He's going to bowl probably 35 to 40 overs in finals. Keeper up to the stump. He just puts so much pressure on. He likes to yap. He talks a lot of crap, but he loves the contest. And everyone that makes the 4 this year is going to think that they can win the flag, and there's no reason why that they can't. They're a bloody good side.
Rosebud 7 for 154, beat Seaford 153. Seaford have improved in recent weeks. Rosebud batting, Egan 43, Paddy Nagel. Paddy have had a few red dots, 31 not out. Unbeaten 37-run partnership for the 8th wicket, got them home. Seaford bowling, Foxball 3 for 2. Seaford batting, Herbert 34, Ryan McQueen 31. Rosebud bowling. The great man, Paddy Nagel, 6-4, 53 in contention for our player of the round for Swiss Locker to win the gloves, but you didn't win them, Paddy. Bad luck. Maybe next week.
Oh, God. Yep. Thanks.
Yeah, Matt must be happy with the way you're going, though. 6 for 53 is a good day at the crease.
They attacked us early, Dill Pagini and Ryan McQueen. And then we, just fought back with the ball, and someone had to bowl uphill into the breeze on the day and thought the captain should do it. And was fortunate enough that the wickets went my way that day.
Warm day too, wasn't it?
No, this was last week. Overcast, cold day. It was fantastic for bowling.
Excellent. But, of course, it was very warm on the weekend for the team fielding. It was difficult conditions. Wind was up too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was windy and hot, and, it's always windy at Rosebud, so it wouldn't have been fun to field, but we were batting.
Murdoch, 244, beat Somerville 225. Jace probably one that got away, opening stand of 148. Williams 89, Miller 61.
Ben Miller batted really well as well. So, Ben Williams is a quality bat. Coming off, I think they got done outright the week before, and they just batted well, and we just couldn't get the early breakthrough. So it was just disappointing. But then on the weekend, we fell. I thought our fielding probably the week before, because we got caught off the week before playing in the A2. Just felt like we were just off, and our fielding was, we probably gave away 20, and then on Saturday we just didn't get the runs. So that's where we're at. That's, you get what you deserve sometimes. And at the moment, we we just haven't been. It's one of those games where I said earlier, we should be making 30 to 40 more, and if we would have won the game, and we just didn't.
There you go, 3 for 16 for Somerville with the ball, with the bat. Barber made 87. You lost 4 for 41 near the end. Muradoc bowling, Win Cup 3 for 45. It was 2019, 2020, and you and I have discussed this. It was COVID, the one that got away for you?
I was really looking. That would have been a great grand final.
Yeah,
that
against
was
Red Hill.
Against Red Hill.
Yeah.
Just having. I mean, the difference we played Red Hill in round 14, so the irony of that all is that in round 14 we played Red Hill and we were on top, they were second. Jade Herrick had shingles, so he could have come back and we just said, just rest, we've got next week. Justin Alsop was in the same boat, he was crook, just said, just don't worry about it. Little do we know, Red Hill beat us, Darty bats sensational as he always does. And they go top, we go second, play them 2 weeks later in a grand final and the COVID hit. But that would have been a great grand final, like Baden Power, Jade versus Dart in a grand final. Jade never won a grand final before. And yeah, so potentially, but it is what it is. It's one that you can always look back on and talk about.
Absolutely. And Mornington starting to find some form. 3 for 132, beat Long Island 130, who are horribly out of form. They've dropped their last 3. Mornington batting, Parker 76 not out. Long Island bowling, Schimmel very accurate 1 for 19. Long Island batting, McKenna 31, and Mornington bowling, Walsh 4 for 20, and the Evergreen back from his sojourn in Sri Lanka, where he was an expert commentator. Bryce McGain, the one test wonder, 4 for 35. So Mornington boys just starting to find form.
Yeah, I mean, at the start of the year, you look at their side on paper and the way they were going about it, you would have said that they were going to be the flag favourites at the start of the year. Picked up some, Walsh coming across as coach. Got some quality players. Tommy Panich getting back, Charlie Parker back for the full season, who's as good a keeper going around on the peninsula, I reckon. So they just, and Bryce is obviously, when he's in the side, it's amazing what he can do with the ball and his control obviously is great. And at his age, to be still involved in MPCA cricket, it's great to be able to play against him when you do come up against Mornington.
As you've faced him, I mean, how good is he even at the age of what? He's 53 this year.
I've faced him for 2 balls and watched me stumps get knocked over.
Just too good.
Yeah, I mean, good mate Tom Panich, he wasn't playing. Well, this was last season. He said, have fun facing it, it's not fun. I was like, yeah, thanks, Tom. And 2 balls later, I was back in the pavilion. But you just don't know. Like, you get to the ball in the 10th over, and you're like, there you go, there's a leg spinner with the ball in the 10th over. Like, it's just incredible. Like, you're playing against someone who's played for Australia. Like, you don't take that for granted. So
should have played a bit early. I mean, he was 37 when he played for Australia. Nashville Prince took him to the cleaners, he was just unlucky. But I think he was good enough. I covered a lot of state cricket in those days to maybe have played a little bit earlier. That's when they were trying to find the next spinner, weren't they? And they weren't able to find them.
They could have got Bobby Holland back. How old was he? 38?
He was 38 and he was okay in patches, wasn't he?
And Murray Bennett.
Murray Bennett, another one. Maxie Bennett, correct. Yes, you guys wouldn't know them because you weren't even born. Yeah, I'm as old as the hills, as you know. Now, the ladder, Rosebud 120 points are going to play finals. Mount Eliza 96 should play finals. Then it's Mornington in 3rd position. They're on 92 and they've had 1 outright and they've got a net run rate of 1.346 and Long Island 1.106, just out of form a bit at the moment, as we said, having dropped their past 3. They've also had an outright win. Somerville on 72 just have to win this week. Muradoc 60, Seaford 44, 20 points ahead of the Tigers, who've just struggled all year, Jace, haven't they? 24 points.
Yeah, they're going through a bit of a transition with where they're at. They've got some quality players that aren't at the club. Cransbuehler, Liam Cox. They lost Mackenzie Gardner. Dave James has went back and he was captain at the start of the year. So over the course of the last 2 years, they've lost some quality players. I played off in a grand final, I think.
2 years ago.
2 years ago against Heatherhill. Christian Miller, who got 100 on the weekend, batted superbly in the granny. So, yeah, that's just. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all playing local cricket. There's just different levels of crap that you play. So, that's just where that's their spot at the moment. But they'll bounce back. Their program that they've got at the moment, their juniors. Dave's putting a hell of a lot of work with his wife Helen. So, they do a lot of work for that club. They've got all abilities. They've got a women's team. They've got girls. They've got heaps of juniors now. They'll grow where they are in the ones. they'll bounce back.
Well, Helen's driving the women's program, doing it great.
Yeah, I played them yesterday. It was a fantastic day.
Excellent. Well, round 13, let's get some selections, guys. Second, Mount Eliza playing Seaford 7th. What do we reckon, Ash?
Mount Eliza. JL will steal some sunscreen again and make 100.
Yeah, he's having a terrific year. He made a very good 100 against Summy. Summy started really well that day, and he and Googe just took that game away. It was a brilliant innings. What do you think, Paddy?
Yeah, I'll back in Mount Eliza. Tommy Barron will bowl all day and just ensure they get the win, to be honest with you.
Jace?
Yeah, I think Mount Eliza will win. I'd love to see Tommy Barron get Ryan McQueen for a gold and just see the celebration. They're going to be funny.
They don't like each other, or
they're both competitors, and just be funny to see Ryan on the end of a goal.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player, Ryan McQueen, of course, isn't he? Now, this is the battle. Rosebud and Somerville, first against fifth. How do you win it, Jace?
Well, so the few years that we've been down there since I've been coaching Somerville is we just haven't been prepared to play the ground. Like we just haven't worked hard enough. So we talk about it all the time. So we just got to adapt to the style of cricket that needs to be played to play down there. I mean, I've got no doubt that we've got the talent to do so. Ryan McNamara's, a quality bowler. Caleb Dedman's come on beautifully. Got some good spinners. I'm not even going to mention the Pom's name because.
He's still angry with me because his interview still hasn't gone up on Facebook. Been working on it, Isaac. We'll organise it for you.
You mentioned his name. So that's from round 3.
Save it then.
Round 4. Round 4 it was.
Yeah, round 4. So
he said, I've got a bone to pick with you.
Yeah, he's good. And he will appreciate that. So that's we just got to play. We just got to play smarter cricket when we get down there. We've got the ability to do so. It's just, but the reality is, it's a hard ground to play at. They're in form. They're good players, are playing good cricket, and their role players are doing their job. I noticed they got Ash Mills back into the side now, batting at 8. Ash is at 9. Sam Jones opened the batting against us last year and got 70. He's batting at 10. Oh. So they're just a real well balanced side, and they deserve to be on top. And as I said earlier, the top 4 sides all got a chance to win the flag. And but in saying that, we spoke about it on the way. I was going to pick Rosebud, and they were both going to pick Somerville.
I thought you might. I thought you were also going to wear the Rosebud top, and the boys were going to wear the Summy tops. Yes, I know you did. Yeah. Why do you win?
Well, hopefully we make more runs and take more wickets than them to start with. Why do we win? I don't know. I think, as Dad said, I think playing the ground, we have a massive home ground advantage. I think in the competition we play as well. The other sides we play against all play on pretty small and fast sort of grounds, and they come to Rosebud and it's big and slow, and sides have to adapt and have to play the way we want to play. And I think a lot of sides, it's a big learning curve, to be honest with you. And it's taken us a long time to understand it and play it to the best of our ability. And you've got to be up for a 160 over fight against us because I think in the last 2 games we've played, sides have been 2 for 100 or none for 60. And both times we've bowled them out for 150. So we're not far away, and we understand the game plan, and we trust the process down there. And at the moment, it's paying off that we're putting in the hard work, and the results are going our way. We're bowling sides out, and we're making sure we chase the runs down.
Murdoch and Long Island, Ash. It's a big game for Long Island. As we said, they just need to find some form. I know Aidan McKenna's a bit concerned.
Yeah, when you got the likes of Aidan McKenna, like he bats past drinks on Murdoch's ground. They'll go a long way to putting a big score on the board because Aidan, he just doesn't fear. It doesn't matter who's bowling. He just sees the ball and just hits it. So if he bats to drinks on Murdoch's ground, they're going a long way because then they've still got Boxall and Zach Wilson that can hurt you. But obviously, to Murdoch's credit, they get outrighted, and then a week later, next week, they come out and put 250 on the board. And so it's anyone's game, but I'm backing Aidan McKenna in to get some runs.
Jace, Long Island or Murdoch?
Yeah, I think Long Island. It's funny. I had a look. They've lost 3 in a row. Aidan McKenna, I actually texted him last night, and he asked for some advice on what to do. So I told him to grab the polos on Tuesday night, put the polos on, tell them to bring their wallets, tell them to meet at the Frankston RSL, and they'll think they're playing lawn bowls, but just take them inside and have 2 hours on the sauce. And
that's what Blighty did after that Hawthorn game back in '89. Yeah.
We did it last year going into the semi. Yeah. It worked for us for about 3 overs, and then we got our asses kicked. So, but it's worth it.
What do you think, Paddy? Murdoch along the line.
I just Aidan McKenna.
Aidan McKenna.
That's it.
And Mornington to beat Tigers to just about cement their spot in the finals?
Yeah.
In a word?
Yeah.
Mornington comfortably.
Yes.
Well, we're here for the MPCA Cricket Show. We're reviewing round 12, previewing round 13 and having a great chat with the Nagels, Jason and his sons, Paddy and also Ash. And we're here for Breeny Brothers Brewery, also GameFace Vision. And if you want your matches, there's not too many left now before the end of the season, televised or streamed, get in touch with the GameFace team, Josh and Glenn and the rest of the crew. We're also here for Swiss Lock. We're about to announce our Player of the Week and also Telstra Business Technology Centre of Melbourne South. Let's have a look, guys, at Provincial. Langwarrin stayed on top, an 81-run win over Baden Powell, 9 for 263, Baden Powell 182. Damiano 80, Margette 63 for Langy, Baden Powell bowling. Ballard did well with 6 for 99. And with the Langwarrin bowling, Jake Prosser close to, the Player of the Week, 6 for 15. Starting to fly, Jace, aren't they? They're in a very good position.
Yeah, they've sort of took a little while. I actually watched a little bit of them play Dramana early in the year, and it's great to see Jake Prosser get 6 for on the weekend. Damiano, obviously he's a star, and to see him get 80, and they batted into the second week, and Baden Powell, Pross got the wickets, and they play with such spirit out in the ground, Langwarrin. They celebrate success really well out there, and it's just a hard competitive unit, and they seem to be hitting form at the right time.
Pines 184 beat Red Hill 120. Pines batting, Connor Jackson having a great year, 61, and Christita 61 as well, I should say. Red Hill bowling, Brent Martin 4 for 53. Red Hill batting, not a great day. Simon Dart top scoring with 20. Pines bowling, Dal 4 for 36. Paddy, he's a star, Simon Dart, but he can't do it every week, can he? They just need others to maybe step up a bit.
Yeah, he just probably needs some support there. But I know how I'd be feeling if I was a provincial side and Red Hill finished 4th and you got to play Dart in a couple of finals. It's a scary prospect, and he's had the support over the years there, and I'm sure someone will stand up this week and support him and ensure that they get another chance at it this year.
Well, the top 3 look right, but 4th to 8th could either be relegated or finish 4th. That's how tight it is. We'll get to that ladder in just a second. Sorrento is one of those teams, 7 for 206, an upset win over Dramana. It was a 40 over a side match, rained out on day one. Dramana 179. Sorrento batting, Hanrahan 42, Rulak 40 not out. Dramana bowling, Zach Clan 3 for 40. Dramana batting, Kieran Vocal, he's having a big year too, 56. And Hanrahan has taken nearly 30 wickets, 2 for 23. So, Ash, in that particular game, Sorrento finding form. They've beaten some good sides, but it's the teams around them that they're not able to beat at the moment.
Yeah, it's good to see Matt Rulak getting the runs. You got the big wicket of Bobby as well that we saw. But yeah, it's just...
They would have been happy about that too.
Yeah, I reckon they would have been. Especially, I actually saw James Rulak run up and give him a fist pump. So I reckon that was just a little thanks for all the first 11 games in recent years, Bob. But Sorrento have been, everyone in Provincial really, they've all been up at the top. Like, you look at the bottom 3, Baden Powell, Old Peninsula and Sorrento, as you said, Red Hill and Heather Hill also couldn't be in relegation. But you thinking one of those teams that could go down is, because they've all been the top teams for so long, it's a scary thought.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, Jace? Because over the last 2 or 3 years, it's been a real battle. It goes down to virtually the last ball on the last day of the home and away season to decide who is relegated.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, every time this gets brought up, you go to the 8-team competition and then splitting into the 4 comps. Every game is live, and you even go through the grades and have a look at some of the lower grade competitions. There's 2 games between bottom and top. Like, it's fantastic. So, yeah, I mean, going back to the Sorrento, that would have been, obviously, if you try and find motivation in any game that you play to have something over the opposition. So they're clearly getting Bobby to get back to Sorrento last week in his Dramana colours. That would have been motivated as anything to, make sure that they didn't walk away with a win. And they've had a great day. I know Mascarenas, I don't think he played, so I think Wood was captain. So it's just a great result for them.
Certainly is. Keeps them in the mix to stay up. Heather Hill won in the final over, chasing, it must have been a great game of cricket, chasing 255 against Old Peninsula. Now, Justin Grant resumed on 90 not out, got his century, 123, and then he took 5 for 88. So he's our player of the week for Swift's Locker. So, Justin, go down to the Cheltenham warehouse of Swift's Locker, pick up your brand new gloves. You're in contention to win the Player of the Year, which is a brand new bat as well. Old Peninsula 254. Heather Hill batting. You mentioned Miller, 119. Just doing enough, aren't they, to hang around that top 4, Heather Hill? It's been a pretty good year, hasn't it, for them?
Yeah, and the new mayor of Tyre, Jake Theobald, he's just moved in next door.
Right.
Yeah, so it's funny, on a Thursday night, I'm out there in my summy gear, Ash is out there in his Rosebud gear, and Jake's out there in his Heather Hill gear, and we just sit around our bins having a chat for 20 minutes. So.
And a couple of beers.
No, we haven't had a beer yet. But it was funny talking to him last week. They were all out for 40. And then this week they go out and chase that in a rain-affected game with a great win, which puts them back into the mix of playing finals.
Well, it does. Langwarren, 108 points. Pines, 102. Dramana, 90. Then Red Hill, 68, 1.174. Heather Hill, 68. They've had a tie against each other, 0.804. Then Baden Powell, 48, 0.913. Old Peninsula, 48, 0.839. And Sorrento, 48, 0.696, a magnificent competition. Round 13, selections, guys. 6th, Baden Powell, hosting Pines, 2nd, Ash. If Baden Powell win, they stay in the mix. If they lose, well, the last game will decide it, which will be a big game against Old Peninsula, probably.
Yeah, I've noticed Ramsdale's not playing for Pines, and he's a good Collingwood man. He's not playing, so I reckon Reece Helmy will go big this week and Baden Powell get a win.
Why did you have to mention Collingwood? We've gone a whole show without him.
Because Rick Ramsdale, I know a lot of people, he goes at a lot of people on the field, and I got a pat on the back because I go for Collingwood. So I always mention Collingwood and Rick.
He's got a soft spot, of course, for GWS with his daughter. I actually called that game this year. Last year, Gemma to make her debut, and ironically made it at home, 5 minutes from home down at Frankston Park. It was fantastic. She did a great job. Paddy, who do you like in that game?
It is a big game. Rumour has it that Reece Helmy and Connor Jackson will be having a sledge off this week against each other. Declan Jackson also told me that he was the best bat in the competition while I was in Sydney with him. I've got that on my phone somewhere. But I'll back in that oldest Jackson brother to have a day out, Patrick, and just make sure Pines get another win.
What do you think, Jace?
Yeah, I think Pines. Great to see Nick Christides last week at 61 at probably the same age. So, no, I know he's, Chico's, he's early 50s. Yeah. So, but still, to be doing that at provincial level is just outstanding. And, what a quality player he's been across the MPCA for a long time. And, one for the old boys. So I'll go for Pines.
Red Hill hosting Dramana, 4th against 3rd, must win Red Hill. Dramana probably not in as good a form as they were earlier in the season. Again, a massive game.
And if you take the footy aspect out of it, they wouldn't have played against each other much for a while in cricket, but the footy aspect, Red Hill Dramana is really strong rivalry. So, basically neighbours, if you like. So can see that being a real competitive game, knowing that the competitors that are involved in both sides. But I always find it hard to, I know as well as Dramana are going, but Sammy Fowler's having a sensational year. Just find it hard to bet against Darty. He's made over 500 runs for the year. I think he's taken 26 wickets. Just when the scrap's on and they just need to fight, he always seems to find a way. And as Paddy said before, you'd like to think that there'd be some others, which they have done throughout the course of the year, stood up. But yeah, what a cracking game. Like Dramana just seemed to have just tapered off a little bit.
They've been up for a long time, of course.
Absolutely.
In a word, Paddy?
Toss of the coin.
Toss of the coin. You can sit on the fence and pull the splinters out later. Yeah. Ash?
I'll go Dramana.
Yeah, it should be a ripping game. I think Red Hill might win at home. Sorrento 8th against Heather Hill 5th. This is another absolute monster. If Sorrento win, they're in the mix. If Heather Hill win, they could just about sew up 4th spot if Red Hill go down, Ash. So I'm going to call this not an 8-point game, a 24-point game.
I'm not going to say it. I'm going to, as what Dad said earlier, I'm going to back in the Mayor of Tyab, Jake Theobald, to get it done for Heather Hill this week.
What do you think, Paddy?
Yeah, I'm with him. I think Heather Hill will be too strong. But don't be surprised if James Rulak just bends that arm a little bit too much this weekend.
I don't need that.
Oh, you don't.
I think Heather Hill on the back of, I think the word was that Dave Martin's going to go down there Thursday night and rev them up and give them a bit of a spray and get them more motivated. So if Dave Martin and Christian Heath, Brendan Gardner get involved, then I can't see how.
Scabs, Martin?
Yeah, I am. We call him Shaky now. That's his new nickname.
Oh.
Why?
That's a veterans thing.
Fair enough.
I'll talk.
He's a great mate of Dermot, isn't he?
Yes. I'll. So his nickname's Top. Dermot's nickname's Top.
He's top.
I'm King.
Right.
We got Broken. Yeah, I'll explain it after you.
Yes,
So
later on.
The veteran boys will know what I'm talking about.
Yes, okay. Very
We'll
good.
go Heather Hill on the back of Shaky, revving them up on Thursday night.
Fair enough. And Old Peninsula and Langwarren, 7th against 1st. Another huge game. Langwarren can cement top spot. Obviously, Old Peninsula can stay in the mix. And as we said, they've got Baden Powell in the final game. It's incredible that a few years ago they won 2 in a row and they could be relegated with the class of players. And I saw them in the T20 comp, how good they were. Class of players in that side, they shouldn't be relegated, Paddy, should they?
No, most definitely not. As Ash said before, any of those sides getting relegated and going down to Peninsula is, I can't even put it into words, to be honest with you. However, for this game, though, it's just so hard to bet against Langwarren at the moment with those Prosser boys in there, and then you've got Damiano as well, Travis Campbell, Taylor Smith. They're just... Rick's got them playing really well at the right time of year, and it's probably hard to go against them based on form.
Ash?
Yeah, I'm going Langwarren.
Bit of rivalry between these two clubs as well. There's a lot of Langy boys, a lot of the old Peninsula boys did come from Langy years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
So, but I think the boys have hit it nail on the head. I think Langy's just getting into they're finding form at the right time, and I still don't think they've peaked yet. So I think they've got, you talk about finals being won by people that have got, they're the teams that have got the match winners. They're very even, but they've got a couple of match winners that I think that could stand up in finals.
This is our MPCA Cricket Show. We're here for Blackout Electrical. We're also here for Telstra Business Technology Centre of Melbourne South, Swiss Locker, GameFace Vision, and Breeny Brothers Brewery. To District, Karen, 5 losses in a row and have finally fallen out of the top 4.
Finally, because of the coach.
Because of the coach.
Yep.
No good.
Should have been sacked. Bart Hudson.
Oh, really? Oh, he's a mate of yours, though, isn't he?
No, despise each other.
Oh, do you? Right. Okay, you're not happy with that. They've just gone down the hill a bit, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
Big
They've
game,
lost their
though.
way.
This was a huge game. Carrum Downs made 270. Carrum 259. Johnston 112 not out. Waterfalls having a huge year, 65. Carrum bowling, Ridgeway 4 for 42. Liam Hewlett made 68 for Carrum, and Carrum Downs bowling, Josh Dinger 3 for 35. Carrum Downs the team to beat, but Balnarring coming quickly, and Carrum have got to find some form to try and play finals.
Yeah, I think you mentioned Carrum Downs being the team to beat. They have been for the last 4 years, and they just haven't got the job done. So they keep chipping away at it. You can't win it if you don't make it, get into the top 4. So they've already ticked that box. But at some point in time, they've been the best team consistently across the last 4 or 5 years in district, and they at some point in time, we'd like to think they'd capitalise on that.
It's obviously mentally, isn't it?
Oh well, finals cricket's different cricket, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's there's the end result that can whether you play or not the next week.
Correct.
But I mean, it was interesting that game went down to the wire, and got told to have a look at the Frog Box vision of the last run out, which I did, and so it's an interesting decision.
When I first saw the results in that game, it said abandoned.
Yeah, that would be Bart not doing his paperwork properly.
Okay, fair enough. But I contacted Fozzie,
Yep.
but he didn't come back. I didn't look later, and the result was fine. Now, Balnarring in good form. They won their past 5, and they beat Flinders, ending a 4-game winning streak for Flinders. And Balnarring now second on the ladder and bowling teams out for fun for pretty low scores. 5 for 143, Flinders 123, Darcy Warmbrun 53, Flinders bowling, Sam Field 1 for 19, and Flinders batting, Blake made 30, Balnarring bowling, Ben King, second 5-wicket haul in a row, 5 for 51, Luke Hewitt, pretty good player, Ash, isn't he? 4 for 31, a star, despite the fact he's got a partial tear of the ACL, which he still hasn't had fixed.
Yeah, he's been just a very good player for a very long time, Luke. We've had some good battles with him over the years when he was at Hastings, but he's one of those players that he's one to watch come finals.
Now, Bonio, 9 for 253. They won in the 55th over Baxter. 5 for 249. Bonio now in fourth position. Baxter have dropped 2 that probably will cost them dearly against Main Ridge and now Bonio. They lost 4 for 26th and the ninth wicket fell at 249 for Bonio, so they just got over the line. Lockie Bandra made a century, 111. Satambi for Baxter, 2 for 45. Bonio bowling, Umesh 2 for 38 and Baxter batting, Kumara 89 and Harvey 52 not out. Baxter have been more competitive, Jace, haven't they, since going down to district? But,
absolutely. I mean, that's the whole thing that's, as I said earlier, you are where you are at that certain time and, they've gone down. I know their ladder position is, I think they're second last on the ladder, but they'd be really disappointed with the result on the weekend, getting 240, I think it was, and getting done.
Main Ridge, 2 wins in a row. 7 for 139, beat Crib Point 135. Main Ridge batting, Fernando 31 not out. Crib Point bowling, Jack Knight 4 for 38. Main Ridge bowling, Sam McWilliams, close to winning our player of the week for Swift's Locker, 6 for 49. And Crib Point batting, Cripps made 41. So good to see Main Ridge finally find some form after what had been a pretty bleak first 9 or 10 weeks of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Cribby would be pretty disappointed with losing that game, but Main Ridge, all credit to them for, Jace Albrus is, quality fella and coming across from Bonio, originally obviously Main Ridge, but coming across, so it's great to see him back at the Ridge and get a couple of wins.
The ladder, Carrum Downs 108 points, Balnarring 96 and their net run rate 1.538, Flinders 96, 1045. And Bonio 72, 0.791. Carrum on 60, 1.124. Crib Point on 60, 0.809. Baxter 48 and Main Ridge 36. Quickly, the selections for round 13. Carrum Downs first against Flinders third. Ash, pretty big game for both teams.
Yeah, it's a massive game. Obviously, Carrum Downs at home is going to be a tough game. So I'm going to go Carrum Downs there.
Paddy?
Yeah, I'll just back in Carrum Downs and just keep backing in Gordon Waterfall to keep making runs.
He's a star, isn't he, Jace?
Yeah, absolutely. Flinders to Carrum Downs, I'll have jet lag. That's a fair trip.
Is that the furthest trip? No, southern team?
Sereno to Carrum, I would have thought would be...
But I mean, I'm talking in that particular comp.
I would have thought so. So...
Shouldn't win, though. I mean, there are some football competitions they travel 2.5, 3 hours to play footy.
No, actually, no whinging involved, just trying to do a little bit of comedy, Danny.
I know.
And you've jumped on.
Yes. I've always jumped on, Jace. You got me every single time. You know me. I'm about as funny as something in an elevator. Balnarring second against Bonio fourth. Huge game. Top 4 playing each other this week. This is very important for both teams. We know Balnarring playing well and Bonio have been big improvers this year.
Where's that one at?
That's at Balnarring. Beautiful part of the world. Went down to the Heritage Hotel the other week too, boys. Beautiful part of the world.
Yes.
Lovely part of the world.
Yeah, at home, I'll go with the premiership teammate of mine, Patrick Nickius, to take 5 and get the win. Balnarring.
I'll go with my twos football coach at Rosebud, and I'll go with Bila the Sealer to bowl Bonio to victory.
Was down at Balnarring yesterday, actually, for the under-14 semi-final. Some of you were playing down there. What a beautiful ground. That's
It is.
Like 10 years ago, it was just a cow paddock and just... But now, beautiful facilities, but Balnarring playing good cricket, hard to go past them.
Never get a senior footy team in? No?
I wouldn't have thought so. Not with, not as long as Tight Shannon's involved. Another one for you, Tight. There's another one of that. Yeah, another one of the nicknames.
Mate of Billy Brownless, of course. They went to Assumption together, I think.
College.
Yes, they did. Yes. Baxter 7th on the ladder against Crib Point 6th. Now, Tight, I didn't come up with that nickname, Andrew, by the way. I'll just always call you Andrew because I'm a nice man. Who wins that one, Ash?
I'm going to go Baxter. If it's at Baxter, they've put the runs on the board, or they'll go again.
I'll go Crib Point.
Yeah, they need to win, don't they?
Yeah, I'm on the Pies. The Wiltons.
Yeah. Fair enough. And Main Ridge 8th, looking for 3 in a row, and Carrum just need to find a win, don't they? Must.
Oh, absolutely.
If they don't, they're gone.
Yeah, well, I've lost 5 in a row. But I think Fozzie heading back to the Ridge, he'll enjoy being back there. Like he had a lot of success down there, he made a lot of runs. So I reckon he might ton up this weekend and get them back on the winners track.
He's a terrific player.
Oh, he's a gun.
Certainly is. Now, sub-district, YCW, this has been funny because the top 5 have been jumping all over the joint. YCW 204 beat Ballon Park 155. Jason Bedford made 83 for YCW. Borthwick 4 for 31 with the ball for Ballon Park. YCW bowling Henwood 4 for 48. Dallicum Park have gone on top now. 2 weeks ago they were 5th, 190, beat Sky, who've had a shocker, lost 10 on the trot. 95 they were bowled out for. Dallicum Park batting, Daffy 41, Guthrie 38, Sky bowling, Higgins 3 for 5, and Dallicum Park bowling, Christitas 3 for 22, and Becker made 30 with the bat for Sky. Dallicum Park have won the last 3. 7 wins in a row for Rye. They actually played on that day when no one else played and the ground was, covered in water.
I watched a bit of that.
But they found a way to win. 4 for 147 beat Mount Martha. 6 for 146. It was rained out last week, so it was a one-dayer. Mount Martha batting. Mounts had a good year. 53 not out. Rye bowling Gunatunga. 3 for 15. Rye batting Hunt 59. And Mount Martha bowling. Mount lost a lot of players at the start of the year. Mount Martha 2 for 37. And Tybe also in a 40 over a side game, washed out last week. They had a good win over Tutgaruk, who've dropped to 5th after they were first 2 weeks ago. 2 for 85. Tutgaruk bowled out for 84. So Dallicum Park on top on 102. And look at this, 4 teams on 96. Tyab, 1.534. The net run rate. YCW, 1.317. Rye, 1.126, the only team, along with Mount Martha, that has not missed a game all year, and they've got the best winning streak in the comp at the moment, winning 7 in a row. 1.126 is their net run rate. Tutgaruk on 96, dropping outside the top 4 for the time being. 1.067, Ballon Park 50, Mount Martha 24, and Sky 24. And quickly going through the fixture for round 13, YCW third, playing Dallicum Park first, Jace.
YC, I was with a few of the boys last week in terms of the older boys and the veterans, and just talking about how they went about it. They got their 200 overnight. They were 8 or 9 for 199, so got themselves out. They just fought and scrapped hard. Jason Bedford got runs. Yep. Dallicombe and just Johnny Guthrie's a star and has been for a long time. And I think it's at Dallicombe.
It is at YCW.
Well, yeah, I got that one wrong. Hard ground to play at YC. It's pretty slow, Frank Street.
Tucked away, isn't it?
Yeah, Frank Street. The boys did well there in the grand final. They got their asses kicked.
You're always willing to have a crack, aren't you?
Well, they have a crack at me, Dan.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah, you got to throw it in there.
I know that, but he's very good to you because I've seen you a couple of times at football matches. You're a little bit emotional, tired and emotional after a big day. When you said you'll drive and the poor fella here, Ash, down the other end, has had to drive you home because you've pulled rank.
Yeah. Anyway.
So what do you think, YCW?
Yep. At home.
What do you think?
I think YCW, Jack Greenwood.
Ash?
Ripping fellas.
YC.
Yep.
YC. Sky want to find a win. Mount Martha want to find a win as well, 8th against 7th. Been a tough year for both teams.
Yeah, well, Mount Martha, I think the thing that they've sort of probably, I think the boys know where I'm going with Mount Martha, but if Jason Mathers is still playing first cricket, at probably 58, you don't have the rudest head in the competition, Dan.
Is he still playing ones?
That bloke does.
Is he still playing in the ones?
Yeah, he played.
No, he's with Peninsula now.
Oh, school cricket. So the cockroach still hasn't been killed.
Yeah. He finds himself just anywhere, that man. So if Jason Mathers is not playing, Mount Martha will win.
If Jason Mathers is playing, they won't win.
Not playing.
Okay, but if he is playing, they won't win.
Correct.
Fair enough.
Taking up a spot.
What do you think, Paddy? G'day, Jace, by the way.
Yeah, no, g'day, Heather. I'll back in Sky.
Hello, fellow big head.
Hey.
No, I'm going to go Mount Martha.
Righto. Rye and Tutgaruk 4th against 5th.
Big game.
Yeah, it's huge.
I just think I was talking to Gosh a couple of weeks ago at the women's cricket, and Rye, as I was saying to you earlier, there's 2 people that stand out in that team for me: Ravi with the ball and Nathan Hunt with the bat. They're going to do a lot of damage. Ravi can do a lot of damage with the ball and tie up an end and get some wickets, and Hunty can take the game away from you in the first 10. And then they've got good players. Siv and Jordan Blades has been a very good player. So I reckon they're in a good spot, Rye. I reckon they're in a really good spot.
They're in very, very good form.
And Tutgaruk, they're either
up and down, aren't they?
Yeah, they can get 350. Trav French can get 100 before drinks.
Matty Whelan's a good player too, yeah.
So, but then they do what they did last week and they're late for 80. So just a little bit inconsistent. But yeah, I think Rice and that's a really good local derby. There'll be a bit in that.
Absolutely.
I'm going Rye.
Paddy?
Yeah, I'm with Ash and Dad. I'll go Ryan. Nathan Hunt's a fantastic cricketer.
And Tive's a good side. They're second. They were probably the favourites at the start of the year. They were on top for a little while, and then, of course, the other teams caught up with them. But they're playing pretty good cricket at the right time against Ballon Park.
Yeah, just before we get back, so just back on the road, we were talking about it earlier, but they've seemed to have won 7 straight since Jack Harris left.
Yes, so Jack went to Mount Eliza, and now seems he left and
He's played a couple of games in the ones.
Yeah, we played against him
Yeah.
in his first game, and we tried to get him to Rosebud, and he said no, but then he went to Mount Eliza 3 games into the season, and then he left Ryan. They've won 7 games in a row, so it's just interesting just to look at as a stat. That's all, Dan.
Have you contacted him regularly, Paddy, to say they're going well since you've left, Jack?
He's been at Rosebud a few times.
Yeah, he calls him for a beer every now and then, does Jack? So it's always good to see Jack. And the game we played Mount Eliza at home this year, he was last to leave our club rooms. He locked up for us that night. So yeah, it was good of Jack. Yeah, it's good of him.
Yeah, good.
Well, you need people like that around your club, don't you? So who wins between Tive and Ballon Park, boys?
Oh, I think Ty, Lockie Hose is having a fantastic year again, backing up from last year. Normally, people sort of work him out or whatever, but he's 36 wickets again going into with 2 games to go, so there's no reason why he can't get up around the 45. And Ballon just, lost their coach during the week, broken. Another one for you, Dan. Broken. Yeah.
Why?
That's his nickname, because he coached them at the start of the year behind the nets at Saxon Sports, and he was sitting in a trolley because he just had back surgery, so his nickname's Broken.
Like Alan Turner, Fitterer, one of the great nicknames. Former Australian opener well before your time, boys, back in the 70s. Made the Australia's first ever 100 in World Cup cricket. A bit of more miscellaneous information for you. Paddy, who do you like on this one?
I like Ty. Jared White's a fantastic player. I remember playing against him about 10 years ago, and he's still chalking out runs for Ty.
Ash?
It'll be interesting to see how Hose pulls up. He was a bit sore at Country Week, and see how he fields too. But I'll back Tybe and Hose to get 5.
It's been 2 weeks. He should be all right.
He got 5 last week, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, thanks, boys. It's been a long show, but I knew it would be. We thank Ash Nagle, we thank Paddy Nagle, we thank their old man, Jugger, Jason Nagle, for joining us on our cricket show. We thank Aranda and Ashadi for sitting here and putting up with this rubbish for the last hour or so. We also thank all our sponsors, of course, Swiss Locker, and our player of the week this week for his century and his 5 for 88, even though Peninsula just got beaten by Heather Hill. Justin Grant, what a great player he is. He can go down and pick up his gloves from their warehouse in Cheltenham. Ryan Hayward's team, Washington Park, by the way, I'll give him a shout out in Seeker, finishing on top in their division, the 2nd division in Seeker and Woolno, and they're into the major semi-final. We wish them all the best in that major semi-final for Washington Park this week. So he can go down and pick up his gloves, Justin, and he's now in the running for the player of the year to win the cricket bat. And we also thank Brenny Brothers Brewery, Telstra Business Technology Centre of Melbourne South, GameFace Vision and Blackout Electrical. Good luck to the boys this week in the big game between Rosebud and Somerville, and we'll catch you in a couple of weeks' time for the next cricket show. Enjoy your week.